Willie Dixon, that great blues musician and philosopher, said, "Blues is the roots, everything else is the fruits." And you know, Willie was right. We're going to go on a tour today. We're going to start in the black soil of the Mississippi Delta. Go down to New Orleans and then follow the train tracks up through the Piedmont of North Carolina and Georgia. We'll get to the Apollo Theater in New York City, the Black Bottom of Detroit, and Maxwell Street in Chicago. But we're going to start with one of Willie's. It was written in 1950, but the sound is directly out of the Mississippi Delta. Gypsy woman told my mother before I was born, "You got a boy child coming, gonna be a son of a gun." Make all those women rise up and shout. World gonna wanna know, what's it all about, Lord, I am. Everybody knows I am. Lord, I'm the Hootchie Cootchie man. Everybody knows I am. On the 7th hour of the 7th day of the 7th month, 7 doctors say he was born for good luck. Now don't you see, I got $700. Don't you mess with me, Lord, I am. Everybody knows I am. Lord, I'm the Hootchie Cootchie man. Everybody knows I am. And in the rhythm of that song, you can hear the hammers falling on the chain gang on the stone, the little churches out in the Delta. And in the Hootchie Cootchie man, you get the hint of voodoo, the religion of magic. Now, this music, we normally categorize it as blues. But you really don't want to categorize music like this. This is the music that comes from the joy and the anguish and the sorrow and the happiness of the people who made it. And those people knew when the blues comes to you, when the blues falls down on you, it's almost like a human being. Here's the way the most famous of the Delta bluesmen, Robert Johnson, said it. I woke up this morning, Lord, the blues walking like a man. I was up this morning, blues walking like a man. He said, I'm the worried blues. Give me your right hand. Huddy Ledbetter said it this way. Good morning, blues. Blues, how do you do? I said, good morning, blues. Blues, how do you do? He said, I'm fine, mister. Ha ha ha, but Lord, now how are you? Now you might wonder why a old white guy is sitting up here singing you the blues music of black people come out of the South when I grew up in the North. And all I can tell you is it's love. I mean, see, back in the, I'm probably about the age of most people in this room, so I started playing music back in the great folk music revolution in the 1960s. I was helping Michael row that boat ashore, and Shady Grove, and all those fine songs, and then along came the blues. Grabbed me by the lapels, spun me around a couple of times, slammed me down on the floor, sat on my chest and said, "This is the kind of music you're going to play, boy." Well, I did what any love-struck musician does. I started copying. I mean, Blind Lemon Jefferson, Robert Johnson, Mississippi John Hurt, Charlie Patton, Memphis Minnie. I copied as many as I could, as well as I could, and at some point I realized I was never going to sound like Blind Lemon. I didn't have the life experience. I didn't have a lot of other things that would have helped me sound like Blind Lemon. And I was depressed. And that was when I first heard that comment that I made at the very beginning. Blues is the roots. Everything else is the fruits. You see, in American music, in modern American music, jazz, blues, most folk music, most country music, and certainly rock and roll, there's got the blues running underneath it all the time. That made me feel better because then I realized you could pick a tune. Pick a tune and you could put words to it. And almost anything would work as a blues. Old Mother Hubbard went to the cupboard, get her poor dog a bone. When she got there, the cupboard was bare. Poor dog began to moan. He got the blues. Got the dog bone blues. Well, now beef or pork or lamb, any kind'll do. Get him in his front paws, begin to chew. He loved them blues, them bones, them greasy bones. Little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet. She was eating her curds and whey. Along come a spider, sat down beside her, said, "I'm gonna take you away, Lord, Lord, down home, down to East Tennessee. Feed you ham and grits and gravy, black-eyed peas and rhubarb pie, a barbecue from Daddy that'll make you say, oh my. You're gonna be sucking on the bones, baby." So that's how I got into blues music. I started out talking a little bit about the Mississippi Delta, but you know, if you wanted to learn how blues got to be the base of all American popular music, you really have to go to New Orleans. If you want to understand American music, you got to go to New Orleans. So I'd take you there back in, 1916, 17, 18. There's a tall, skinny guy named Ferdinand Lemaitre Mouton. He's playing the stride piano in the bordellos of New Orleans. Likes to call himself Jelly Roll Morton. And you know, Jelly Roll picked up a lot of his music from the streets of New Orleans because the city itself was at the time, one of the wealthiest cities in the country, first city to put in electric stoplights, and relatively tolerant for its time, international, full to its seamy and steamy brim with music. So Jelly Roll only had to go out on the street and listen. He could pick up a song that he could make into a piano roll. Now everybody knows a man can get most anything he wants in the Big Easy. But back in Jelly Roll's time, a woman of righteous morality but sporting taste could hire a handsome young man to take her out. Just take her out for an evening of dining and dancing. And that man was called a whining boy. The finest of the whining boys at the time was called Sweet Stavin' Chain. So if you were a young man trying to break into the business, you didn't take out an ad in the Times-Picayune. You'd walk through the quarter singing a song to advertise your availability. Went something like this. I'm a whining boy, don't deny my name. I'm a whining boy, don't deny my name, my name. I said I'm a whining boy, don't deny my name. Lord, I can pick it up and shake it, just like Stavin' Chain. I'm a whining boy, don't deny my name. Mama, mama, come and look at sis. Mama, mama, come and look at sis. Mama, mama, come and look at sis. Lord, she's out on the levee. She's doing the double twist. Sister, sister, ah, you dirty little sow. Sister, sister, dirty little sow. Uh-huh. Sister, sister, dirty little sow. Lord, you try to be a bad girl, but you just don't know how. I'm a whining boy, don't deny my name. And you know, one of the reasons that New Orleans was so important to music was the same reason it was important to our culture, and in particular the food we eat. Now you think about the Midwest. You get a slice of meat, you get some potatoes, maybe you get a vegetable, iceberg lettuce, and that's dinner. All right? You go to New Orleans, go out and have yourself a gumbo. And in having that gumbo, you're having a European sausage, you're having an African vegetable in okra, you're having filet powder from the Choctaw Indians. In other words, you're having a mixture. And only in New Orleans, when you mix all those things up, you get something delicious. And as a matter of fact, same thing happened with music. New Orleans, and only New Orleans, was able to mix the European traditions with the blues. And only in New Orleans could a English barroom song be refitted entirely with a New Orleans story and blues chords. I went down to old Joe's barroom on the corner by the square. The drinks, they was served as usual. The usual crowd was there. On my left stood Big Joe McKennedy. His eyes was bloodshot red. He turned to the crowd around him. Here was the very words that he said. I went down to the St. James Infirmary just to see my baby there. She was stretched out on a long white table, so pale, so cold, so fair. Let her go, God bless her, wherever she may be. She may search this wide world over. Oh, she'll never find a man just like me. Here's the British folk song. When I die, please bury me in my high-top Stetson hat. Put a $20 gold piece on my watch chain just to let the gang know I died. I died standing pat. I want 6 crap shooters for pallbearers, 6 pretty girls just to sing me a song. I want a big jazz band on my wagon just to raise hell as we roll along. Now that I've told you my story, I'll just have another shot of that old booze. If anyone should ask you, just tell them I've got those gambler's blues. Thank you very much. Now, in New Orleans at the time, piano music was being refitted to what's called stride piano. You get the left hand playing chords down at the bottom end, and you get the right hand playing the melody. That stride piano was an innovation of New Orleans. And of course, the guitar players wanted to play it too. They had only 6 strings, not 88 keys, and they had only as many fingers as they could use. But they tried to do it, and it came out as blues music, the kind of blues that traveled the railroads with the black musicians going all the way up toward Georgia and North Carolina. It's called the Piedmont area, and therefore this is called the Piedmont style. Now, the way you do it, you got to have a good thumb if you're going to play Piedmont style blues. The high strings play the melody. One of the finest of the players of Piedmont style blues was Mississippi John Hurt. He was a fine guitarist and a sweet and humble man. I was lucky enough to see John when he came to New York last couple of times. He always used to go to a little hole in the wall called the Gaslight Cafe on McDougal Street. If you've watched Mad Men, early parts, you've seen that place exactly the way it was at the time. Back then, for $5 and 2 drinks, you could watch the master play all night long. So there I was, sitting at one of those little round tables right up front watching the master play this song. I knew exactly what he was going to do because I told you before I was copying everything I could, and he put out a record. I'd listened to that record band 43 times. But he came around to the third verse, played something that wasn't on the record. Here it comes. He actually played it quite well. A nice little simple slide, so there I was, down in the semi-darkness, with a stub of a pencil and a cocktail napkin, writing down what the master had done. When it came around again, he slowed way down and looked down at me with that beatific smile of his. Made it nice and slow so I could see it and understand it. And then he went right on playing. If I could get a train and ride, I know that I'd be satisfied. If I get to Atlanta with no place to go, make me down a pallet on your floor. I said, make me a pallet on your floor. I said, make me a pallet on your floor. Make it soft, make it low, so my good gal won't know. Make me down a pallet on your floor. That was Mississippi John Hurt. Oh, you don't have to clap. Thank you very much. Now, your grandparents and parents were going to vaudeville about the time John was writing that song. You're going downtown Minneapolis. You could go to the Orpheum Theater or the Pantages. Both of those were national chains. There was a black vaudeville, too. Didn't ever come to Minneapolis, and not very many white people saw it. On the other hand, we wouldn't know Louis Armstrong or Eubie Blake or Bessie Smith or Kid Ory or Ma Rainey if we hadn't had black vaudeville. Now, black vaudeville was a little bit different than white vaudeville, because if you were on the white vaudeville circuit and you said hell on stage, you'd get the hook. They'd take you off. You wouldn't ever play again. A little bit different from today. On the other hand, black vaudeville kind of had one foot in the risky and one foot in the non-risky world, and so they would play a kind of song called hokum, which is the same Piedmont-style guitar, and they would cover a few things kind of by simile or metaphor, because they still weren't quite up to using a four-letter word as an adjective yet. So here's one from Blind Boy Fuller. It starts with Blind Boy Fuller. It's two different songs. I'm going downtown with my hat in my hand. I'm looking for a woman, got no man. Just like look for a needle in the sand. Look for a woman, ain't got no man. Doo-doo-da, doodly-da, rag mama. Hey, babe, let's do that rag. Well, you got one woman, you better get two. One for your buddy and one for you. Better get a wife and a sweetheart too. Wife don't love you, but your sweetheart do. Rag mama. Well, now I never thought you'd treat me so. I saw that man out your back door. Hey, babe, what you know? You're gonna reap just what you sow. Doo-doo-da, doodly-da, rag mama. Now here's what she said. Listen here, pretty papa, please get out of my sight. I'm calling it quits now. right from this very night, Lord. You've had your day, don't you hang around. You've been a good old wagon, Daddy, but you done broke down. You better go down to the blacksmith shop, get yourself an overhaul. There just ain't nothing about you, baby, to make a good woman bawl. Ah, when you was in your prime, you used to love to run around. You was a good old wagon, Daddy, but you weren't broke down. Now, it ain't no use in crying or to make a big show. This man's taught me more about loving than you really ever know. He's the king of loving. This man is one of a kind. He's a good old wagon, Daddy, and he ain't broke. No, you know he ain't broke. Daddy, and he ain't broke down. Blind Boy Fuller and Bessie Smith run right together. Now, okay, we've taken you from New Orleans up the rail tracks to the Piedmont, and we're going to keep going north because by the late 1920s and early 30s, we were into the Harlem Renaissance. And this was definitely not country blues. This was sophisticated people. This was Zora Neale Hurston, Langston Hughes, was Fats Waller, who completely redefined stride piano. If you've ever heard Kitten on the keys, that gentleman can play the piano. And it's the Apollo Theater in New York City, up in Harlem. This one I'm going to have to have a little help on this one. Now I want you to imagine a highly lit stage with 9 black musicians wearing black tuxedos. A guy named Cab Calloway dancing around in front, he's got a white cutaway. Here's one of the songs he sings. A little man walked round and round to every place in town. He looked the menu through and through to see what 15 cents would do. Now here's the chorus, and you can sing it right after me. One meatball, oh, one meatball, one meatball. He could afford but one meatball. He told the waiter near at hand the simple dinner he had planned. The guests were startled, one and all, to hear that waiter loudly call. Here's your chance. One meatball. Oh yeah, thank you. One meatball. Oh, one meatball. This here gent wants one meatball. You know, the little man was ill at ease. He said, some bread, sir, if you please. The waiter shouted down the hall, you gets no bread with one meatball. One meatball. Oh, one meatball. One meatball. Lord, you gets no bread with one meatball. You know, the little man felt very bad. One meatball was all he had. In his dreams, he hears that call. Lord, you get no bread with one meatball. Last time. One meatball. Oh, one meatball. Oh, yeah, one meatball. You get no bread with one meatball. Thank you very much. You are one of the best choruses I have ever had since the 3rd grade class in Gainesville, Florida. Of course, they were allowed to make noise, which was probably one of the real reasons that they sang so well. Now, around that time, technological innovation, perhaps as amazing as the cell phones we're all carrying now, came along. It was called the 78 RPM record. And like all technological innovations, it was a wonderful thing and a controlling thing. A whole lot of people that couldn't otherwise have had music now had music. 3 minutes of it. Because the 78 RPM record could take 3 minutes aside. So a lot of the songs from back then that your grandparents knew were cut down to 3 minutes. I'm sure you'll recognize this one once I get to the part that got on the 3-minute side. I'm standing on the corner, singing the blues, pocket full of empty holes in my shoes. I'm wearing those old clothes from the church bazaar, chopping out the changes on this old guitar. I've sung this song before, I'll be singing it again. About those good old days of way back when, before the good time Charlies left me flat. You like my music? Put a dime in my hat. 'Cause once I lived the life of a millionaire, spending my money, Lord, I did not care. Taking my friends out for a mighty good time, buying high-priced liquor, champagne and wine. Then I began to be so low, I didn't have a dollar, no place to go. If I ever get my hand on a dollar again, I'm gonna hold on to it till the eagle grin. 'Cause nobody knows you when you're down and out. In your pocket, not one penny when it comes to friends. Lord, you haven't got any. Then you get back on your feet again. Everybody wants to be your long-lost friend. It might be strange, without a doubt, nobody knows you. I said nobody knows you. Nobody knows you when you're down and out. All right. And that song came out of Tin Pan Alley, and Tin Pan Alley was pretty much killed by the 78 RPM record. Anyway, we have to go back to the Mississippi Delta, because the next thing that happened a few years later, and that was called the English Invasion. So we'll start back with Robert Johnson. I woke up this morning, looked around for my shoe. You tell by that I've got these walking blues. Lord, I woke up this morning, I looked round for my shoes. Oh, you tell by that I've got these walking blues. Creek run to the ocean, ocean run to the sea. I'm gonna find my baby or you bury me. Creek run to the ocean, woo, ocean run to the sea. Oh, I find my baby, you gonna bury me. Some people say those worried blues ain't bad. They're the worst old feeling I've ever had. Some people tell you worried blues ain't bad. They're the worst old feeling, Lord, I've ever had. Shortly thereafter, we're coming into the year of the electric guitar, 1940s. And I don't know if any of you have ever been down to Memphis, Tennessee, but if you have been, you probably went to Sun Records. Little tiny recording studio, probably twice as big as this room, with a couple of sound studios and so on. And it's famous because Elvis Presley cut his first side there. What they don't tell you until you get in the front door is that the guy who ran the place, Sam Phillips, recorded all the black musicians he could. And Elvis Presley, probably 50 or 60% of the songs he sang, certainly in the early years, were straight off of what the black guys were doing. So if you like Elvis Presley, you probably like You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog. And if you like that, you need to go on your YouTube and find Big Mama Thornton singing the original. You're never going to go back to Elvis after that. Also, you're going to get, I don't know about your age, but the song that brought me into rock and roll is Shake, Rattle, and Roll by Bill Haley and the Comets, right? No. Big Joe Turner and his full band played that song, and Sam Phillips realized that you couldn't get that guy to be played on any radio station because he was a black man, so he had Bill Haley, a bunch of skinny white guys in the Comets with a big stand-up bass, sing that song, and that's what brought me into rock and roll in any case. Anyway, we're now getting close to the English invasion, because we've still got B.B. King, we've still got Muddy Waters up in Chicago. We've got Robert Johnson, long dead. We've got a couple of the old guys down in the Mississippi Delta. And here we have the Rolling Stones and Eric Clapton coming along and picking up those exact songs that Robert was singing and Howlin' Wolf was singing. There's a great series on Howlin' Wolf done in London. He's an old man and he's doing just fine. We have rock and roll coming straight from the blues. We go back to 1965. This was the #1 song in 1965. Molly told Hattie about a thing she saw. It had a great big head and a woolly jaw, woolly bully. Sound like blues, doesn't it? Woolly bully, woolly bully. And while all those English guys were picking up all that Mississippi Delta music, the black community, of course, had moved north. And the urban black people remembered that old blues music, but they liked something that was a little smoother. We now call it rhythm and blues. Here's one from the late 30s that was sort of had one foot in the blues and one foot in rhythm and blues. Leroy Carr. I can't sing like Leroy. He sounded a little bit like Nat King Cole, and he sort of started the movement. In the midnight hour, about the break of day, in the midnight hour, just about the break of day, Lord, the blues come wandering, they steal your mind away. I went to bed last night, I was turning from side to side. I went to bed last night, I was turning from side to side. You know I was not sick, I was just as satisfied. And from the rhythm and blues and the chitlin circuit, we got Ray Charles and James Brown. And they're really the most recent representation of blues, although we now call it rhythm and blues. So I'm going to finish out with a song that I swear has some lyrics straight out of Ray Charles, but I can't find them anywhere. Thank you very much for listening today. And thank you very much from Golden Valley for having me here. And Scott Jameson is the videographer on the job, and doesn't hurt that he likes blues. I knew about your crazy ways before I knew your name. You got a good thing going with that classy 5'6" frame. I asked you where you been, you said your mother's for a rest. You stand there with your clothes all wrong, your lipstick all a mess. That ain't the right way to do, baby. And you said, I don't know what you're talking about. And I said, my, oh my. Me, oh my, oh my. Oh, you prize your reputation. You say you love me. You gotta treat your daddy right. Those slinky dresses that you wear, your hot pink Cadillac. Oh, your evening dress all cut so low you give me a heart attack. I know you said before we met your life was mighty tame. I took you to a nightclub and the whole band knew your name. That ain't the right way to do, baby. And you said, you know, I have no idea what you're talking about, sweet meat. I said, my, oh my. Oh, me, oh my, oh my. Oh, you prize your reputation, say you love me. You gotta treat your daddy right. You're wearing too much makeup, you got nylons by the score. Those ruby rings and high-heeled shoes make you look like a Zsa Zsa Gabor. You know my hand starts shaking every time I hear the phone. Last time some guy said, "Buddy, tell me, is your sister home?" That ain't the right way to do, baby. And you said, "Why don't you come on over here and sit down next to me on the sofa, big boy? And I'll explain to you some things you may not fully have understood about the communication between a man and a woman." And I said, "My, oh my, me, oh my, oh my, oh yeah. Oh, you prize your reputation. Stop it. Oh my, oh my, my, oh my. You say you prize your reputation. You say you love me. I know. You gotta treat your daddy right." Thank you very much for listening.